So here the animals died, grade 7, worksheet 2, solution. Let's start with the first question, question number 1. Indicate the true statement or statements and correct the false one or ones. I'm going to pick up one of you to answer the questions. So be ready to answer the question. Maybe I'm going to pick Hassan. Maybe I'm going to pick Razan. Maybe I'm going to pick, for example, Laris. So be ready for this. 1. Indicate the true statements and correct the false one. If it's true, simply you can say true. If it's false, you can say false, and you have to correct it in complete answer. So let's start the first one with, let's have Hamad Jbah. Hamad, what do you think? For smelling and touching. Hamad, do you hear me? Or his audio. Okay, you have a problem in your audio, Muhammad, maybe, or something. So we're going to go back to you. Let's have Hassan Ijradi. Hassan Ijradi, you listen to me? You are happy, right? Stop using these Vatican's, please, yeah? Start the first one. Hamad, we're going to go back to you. So fix your issues and we're going to go back to you. Grasshoppers, they use their palps, Hassan Ijradi, for smelling and touching. What do you think?
False.
False. What's the correction?
Grasshopper use their palps for just touching only.
For touching only.
Yes.
Great, great. What do you think, Razan? Thank you, Hassan. What do you think, Razan? Is this correct, what Hassan said? Razan, do you hear me? Razan, do you hear me? Razan is not hearing me. Let's move now to Adam. Adam Hayek. Adam, Hassan said that the grasshoppers use for their palps for touching only. What do you think? Adam, do you hear me? Okay, Adam is not hearing us. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why. So let's solve this. I'm going to move to Laris. Laris, what do you think? Hassan says that the grasshopper used their palps for smelling and touching. He said their palps only for touching.
Yeah, he's right.
The palps, they are used for touching only, right?
Yes.
Okay, what about the antenna?
The antenna is for smelling and touching.
Great, yani palps, they are not for smelling and touching, right? So Hassan answered this in a false way.
Correct.
This is false. Grasshoppers, they use for their antenna for smelling and touching, right?
Yes.
Okay, for their palps, do you know what they use their palps for?
For touching.
Their palps. Their palps, they are used for. Let's go back. Let's go back to the lecture. Let's go back to the lecture. Let's see. Where is the lecture? The grasshopper used the palps for. I'm going to share the screen with you, okay? So the grasshopper used the palps for what?
Tasting.
For tasting. So it's false, ya Hassan and Lays. So they used their palps for tasting, while antenna for touching and smelling. Right? So let's go back to the worksheet. So they use the antenna for smelling and touching. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So the first one is
false.
False. Let's move now to The worksheet again. The second part of the worksheet talking about the second part of the true or false question is saying that just a second. Question number 2. The cheetah is an animal that hunts without movement. What do you think? The cheetah is an animal that hunts without movement. Sure, it's false. The cheetah is an animal that hunts with movement. It moves. So you have to be careful about this. So this is false. Okay? The first one, grasshopper, they use their paws for smelling and touching. So this is false. Grasshopper, they use their antenna for smelling and touching. The cheetah is an animal that hunts without movement. False. The cheetah is an animal that hunts while moving toward the prey. You have to know that we move. It moves toward the prey. Okay? Let's move for the third one. Third question in the true or false, it says carnivores, they harvest their food while herbivores, they capture. We said C with C. Carnivores, they capture their food while the herbivores, they harvest. So the third one is false. Also, the dog uses its sense of smelling to detect the prey, and this is true. The dog uses its sense of smell to detect the prey. Okay, let's move now to question 2. Question 2 talking about read the text and answer the questions that follow. The frog is an amphibian that lives in ponds, swamps, and in any place where water is found. The frog feeds on insects. It's spot nearby by follow its movements. When the insects stop moving, the frog starts approaching its prey by slowly by little jumps, and then it depends on the hind legs. Okay, so let's start step by step with this question and pay attention for this question. Okay, this question includes different parts that you have to start them step by step, and you have to follow some rules. I will tell you about these rules now. Okay, so these rules include, first of all, you have to know that listing, what the meaning of listing. Let's discuss it together, what the meaning of listing. Okay, did you see now the screen in front of you? The screen appears through? Okay, great. So first, you have to know that what the meaning of list in the proper order, the different stages of the feeding behavior. Listing, for example, if I want to go to the supermarket, I want to list some objects or some stuff I want to bring down. Listing, I have to write them as steps, as points, 1, 2, 3, 4, or A, B, C, D. Listing doesn't mean that you have to write them as a paragraph. So you have to write them as steps. The steps in the text list in the proper order. First, the frog spots a nearby insect and follow its movements. B, it starts approaching the prey slowly by little jumps. Then it projects its long viscous tongue and to capture and to consume the prey. Number 2, name the sense and the sense organ used by the frog to recognize its prey. Number 3, classify the frog according to its food type. First of all, name the sense and the sense organ. The sense and the sense organ. The frog saw the prey using the eyes. So it uses the sense organ, which is the eye. And it uses the sense, which is the vision. So the vision is the sense, and the sense organ is the eye. Classify. Pay attention here, please. Classify the frog according to its food diet. So the food diet, it's herbivore, carnivore, omnivore, or maybe insectivore. In the text, they said that it consumes mainly insects. The frog feeds mainly on insects. So it's an insectivore. But they said classify. From now on, grade 7 student, biology subject, every time we have the word that is on the rhyme of Wi-Fi. Do you know the Wi-Fi? All of you know Wi-Fi. You are using Wi-Fi right now. So every word at the rhyme of Wi-Fi, like for example, classify, it's on the rhyme of Wi-Fi. Identify, it's on the rhyme of Wi-Fi. Specify, it's on the rhyme of Wi-Fi. So every time we have a word on the rhyme of Wi-Fi, we have to justify. So every word at the rhyme of Wi-Fi, we have to justify. So here, the sense is the vision and the sense organ, the eyes. Classify, it's insectivore. If you said only insectivore, you won't get the full mark because you didn't justify. Adam Karauni, please stop doing this. So insectivore, why? Because it consumes insects only. This is the justification. So every word at the rhyme of Wi-Fi, we have to justify. Part 4, indicate the active and the passive organs which are the frog and jumping. This is the question that Razan asked me about. The active organs that are used in jumping and the passive organ. Active organ, they are always the muscles, while the passive, they are the bones. So the active organs we call the muscles, while the passive organs, they are the bones. Name the organ used by the frog to capture its prey. It's the long, viscous, sticky tongue. This is the organ used to capture the prey. Okay?